Since the introduction of the VAR into modern football, there have been more controversies and confusions than solutions. Some have described it as the worst thing to ever happen in football, and others have described it as a method of match fixing. While fans keep raging out on social media and in the stands, some Premier League managers have nearly lost it all from horrendous VAR decisions. From managers almost getting fined to managers getting suspended for standing against corrupt officiating, these are the craziest Premier League managers versus VAR reactions you'll ever see. Starting with the time Arsenal's manager Mikel Arteta called the VAR an absolute disgrace. 7 wins out of their first 10 games had the Gunners flying high on the league standings, well, until they arrived at St. James's Park. After getting multiple fouls and dangerous tackles overlooked all game long, the Gunners had the rug pulled under them halfway into the second half. After the ball clearly got out of play, Joe Willock picked up the ball and delivered a perfect cross that led to a controversial Anthony Gordon's game winner. After examining various video angles, VAR ruled out Joelinton's clear push on Gabriel as no foul and still couldn't find the perfect angle to rule out the goal that was clearly out of bounds at the start. Going into the post-game conference with anger and disappointment, Arsenal's manager Mikel Arteta did this.
How the hell this goal stand up? And I feel embarrassed because it's an absolute disgrace that this goal is allowed. Absolute disgrace.
Wow, that was a lot. Luckily for Arteta, he didn't get suspended after that. To be honest, that was truly embarrassing officiating. Speaking of embarrassing, Nottingham Forest was on the end of one of the most treacherous officiating in Premier League history. Premier League rules breaches, point deductions, and poor officiating have been the team's greatest opponents this season. It was game week 34 of the 2023-24 EPL campaign. Everton versus Nottingham Forest, the chance for either team to steer clear of the relegation zone. However, 90 minutes later, Everton ended up the 2-0 winners thanks to luck and most especially the VAR. Nottingham was denied not 1, not 2, but 3 clear penalty decisions in the game. First, it was Gio Reyna getting hacked down in the penalty box. Minutes later, Ashley Young's displaced hands blocked Hudson Odoi's cross in the box. If that wasn't clear enough, just have a look at this. How is this not a foul and a penalty? It was obvious Nottingham Forest lost the game right from kickoff, and their manager Nuno Espirito Santo made sure everyone heard his frustrations.
But we are not comfortable with the work of the referees. It's a feeling of disappointing that we are always being punished.
It got so bad that the club released a statement on how corrupt the VAR and officiating were in the game. Imagine getting such shambolic officiating in the best league in the world. What a disgrace to the Premier League. You know things are really bad when Burnley manager Vincent Kompany called the VAR an absolute joke. After taking an early lead against relegation rivals Luton Town, the Claret worked recklessly on and off the ball to secure all 3 points in front of their home fans. Well, that was what they thought till controversy struck in the dying minute. An inviting cross into Burnley's box was intended to fall into James Trafford's hand until the Luton player clearly impeded the goalkeeper from setting up Morris's equalizer at the dearth. Despite the obvious proof on video replays and rants from the entire stadium, the goal was allowed to stand, and Vincent Kompany totally lost it in his post-game analysis.
I'm sure you can very well imagine what's going through my mind at the moment. What are we doing? Seriously, it's a joke. It's a joke.
Time and time again, yet nothing really changes. Maybe the VAR is truly the worst thing to happen to football. That reminds me of the time Liverpool was robbed by one of the most disgusting VAR errors I've ever seen. The Reds will remember the 2023-24 EPL campaign as Jurgen Klopp's send-off season, but no one will forget the crazy night at White Hart Lane. After taking an early blow to an early Curtis Jones red card in the first half, Liverpool got hard done minutes later when Luis Diaz's goal was wrongly ruled out for offside. Every angle showed Diaz was clearly outside, but the goal was still overruled by poor communication in the VR booth. Jurgen Klopp was so annoyed with the terrible decision that he demanded a replay.
The outcome should be a replay. That's how it is, I would say. Replay.
If that was bad, wait until you find out how the VAR had Frank Lampard fuming when he was Everton manager. During the 2022 season, Everton were scampering for every point in order to avoid getting relegated. After suffering an early blow to Manchester City in the game, they tried all they could to pull one back. Late in the game, the ball struck Rodri's arm and placed it in an unnatural position, which many considered a clear and obvious penalty. However, the VAR came up with all manner of rules and excuses, ruled out the penalty, left the fans grumbling, and Frank Lampard was obviously furious in his post-game interview.
And to think that Chris Kavanagh has not given that penalty. I've got a 3-year-old daughter at home who could tell you that's a penalty.
I see the referees, and VAR will do anything to help Man City, who has 115 charges against them, and win that Premier League trophy. What a joke. It got so bad that even former Aston Villa manager Dean Smith called VAR an absolute disgrace. Early on in the encounter against Manchester United, Villa faced one of the most controversial penalties ever. After getting the ball on the edge of the box, Bruno Fernandes performed a roulette and stepped on Konsa's feet and went down for a penalty. Despite several looks from the video assistant referee, they saw nothing wrong with the play and pointed to the spot for United's early lead. After suffering a 3-0 defeat to United, Dean Smith rightfully slammed the entire PGMOL association in his heated post-game reaction.
I don't know what they're looking at. It's a disgraceful decision, but can't really tell you what I think about it because I'll get fined. And
trust me, there's not a single universe out there that declares that as a penalty. I mean, what are they even watching? Absolutely disgraceful. Even one of VAR's early supporters, Ange Postecoglou, got a taste of his medicine served cold. Spurs welcomed Chelsea to the White Hart Lane for an exciting London derby. Their early lead nearly doubled minutes later, but was chugged off by a close offside call on Son's goal. Despite convincingly losing 4-1 to the Blues, Ange expressed his dislike for the VAR technology after the game.
I don't like it. I don't like the standing around. And I just think it's just diminishing the authority of the referee. You can't tell me that referees are in control of the game now. They're not.
Everyone gets rattled by poor officiating. Even one of the most relaxed managers ever, Carlo Ancelotti, couldn't help it. During his time in charge of Everton, Goodison Park hosted Manchester United in one epic Premier League match. After battling 1-1 through both halves, the Toffees thought they had won the game at the end thanks to a Dominic Calvert-Lewin shot that bounced off Harry Maguire and into the net. However, the hope and cheer soon turned to despair after the VAR ruled off the goal for obstruction by Sigurdsson. How is someone lying on the floor suddenly hindering the goalkeeper from seeing that? It was so annoying that Carlo Ancelotti lost his cool and kept on ranting in the referee's face till he got red carded. See the look on his face. He didn't even care about the red card. This is what horrendous refereeing decisions can do to you. Just imagine losing points because of VAR errors. That was what happened to Arsenal during their title run in the 2022-23 season. In the wake of reclaiming long-lost glory, the Gunners faced a tough test at home against Brentford. Leonardo Trossard broke the deadlock late in the second half, and they were sure to close the game out. Brentford, on the other hand, had different thoughts. A perfectly whipped cross gladly fell into the path of Ivan Toney, who tucked in the goal and ended the match in a draw. However, controversy struck after the game when the VAR officials forgot to draw the offside line, which would have ruled the goal out as an offside and given Arsenal the win. When Arteta found out, he didn't take it easy and went all out on the scandalous VAR decision.
That's not acceptable. And that cost Arsenal 2 points. That's not going to be restored. I will be only satisfied if they give me the 2 points back, which is not going to be the case.
Wow, the incompetence of the VAR is on a whole new level. West Ham was also denied one of the clear-cut penalties you'll ever see. The Hammers welcomed Liverpool home for an exciting Premier League fixture. After stealing an early lead from Lucas Paqueta, West Ham soon lost the momentum and conceded 2 goals to the Reds. But the Hammers weren't going down without a fight. a late charge into the box ended up with the ball being obstructed by Thiago's arm 3 times. After going through all the possible angles, the VAR deemed it not a penalty, setting frowns in the crowd, with David Moyes labeling the VAR as disrespectful in his post-game interview.
The VAR would have said, hey, you should go and check this out. VAR for me showed no respect whatsoever to us.
Witnessing all these horrible decisions go against me as a manager would have made me go nuts too. With the adoption of the Champions League semi-automated VAR system next season, hopefully it will serve its purpose better this time around and help raise the officiating standards. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more top football videos. Until next time, peace.